Damn it, here we go again. We have to do this thing, and this is the kind of thing where no one likes these videos. You will be pissed. No matter where you are, you will be pissed because whenever you force people out of their comfort zone, they get mad. This is something I've learned after, 10 years of doing videos? That's why I don't have 1 million subscribers, because I do shit like this that upsets everyone. This is the president of Argentina, Javier Milei. If you like Javier Milei, you will be mad with this video. If you don't like Javier Milei, you will still be pissed, because this is the kind of video that gets you out of your comfort zone and makes you think of things that you'd rather not address. At the same time, I have no option. I have to do this, because if not, I'm dishonest with myself, right? This is Javier Milei, president of Argentina, the one and only libertarian president ever in the history of the world, talking in Davos, World Economic Forum, where the best, the kindest, the nicest people on the planet get together so as to benefit humanity, never themselves. Of course not. If there's something that Bill Gates wants for the entire human race is... I can't even joke about this shit anymore. So what is it? Javier Milei said a few things that are true. Javier Milei said a few things that are not true at all. And Javier Milei said some weird ass shit that we need to address as well. Some of the things he said regarding capitalism. Capitalism is awesome. Of course it is. Capitalism is fantastic. Javier Milei in this speech, and we will all clap along, Javier Milei said that capitalism has risen people from the misery and poverty that the world had seen up until that point. And that is very much true. Up until the point in which capitalism did its magic, especially with a feudal system of kings and queens and royals, you were pretty much a slave. You were a peasant. You didn't own anything. You had your home and your little piece of land, but it wasn't really yours. Everything, it all belonged to the king, the royalty, the royal family, right? That was the system by which the world worked until that point. The moment in which you have your own private property, the moment in which this cross pen belongs to Fernando and I can do with this as I please, then I can develop myself. I can work. I can create things. I can create my own wealth and accumulate it and administer it as I want. I own private property and I have the benefit of the capitalist system by which if I work hard enough and I'm smart enough, I can make more for myself and in thus creating wealth for the entire human race. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. Now, it is true also what Javier Milei says, that socialism is the greatest threat that the West is facing as of right now. The truth is that socialism is in many ways like that feudal system by which there's an elite. There's a group of people that are above the common peasants. In the case of a Soviet communist type of government, it's going to be the oligarchs, right, that are the elite. In the case of the Chinese Communist Party, the members are the ones that are above the rest. In the case of Argentina, it would be the corrupt politicians that form a criminal gang that spread misery and poverty. You know, in the case of Argentina, usually through monetary emission, printing money. But there's a bunch that are above the rest. Like in Animal Farm, we are all equal. It's just that some are more equal than others. But that's the truth for pretty much the rest of the world. That's why these guys gather here in the World Economic Forum. And Javier Milei then said a bunch of things that are simply not true at all. The idea that we are now seeing the greatest wealth the world has ever seen, well, that is true, but it's not true that everyone has been elevated to that same position. It is actually the case now that the current generation will be poorer than their parents. That is simply because of a very simple fact. This is super easy to verify. The reality is that unless your name is Jeff Bezos or, Bill Gates, the most expensive thing you will buy won't be a, $40 million clock that you're making underground, or buying a $200 million yacht, yet another one, or a plane. No. For the great majority of people, the most expensive thing they will ever buy will be a house, their house. That's the most expensive thing you will probably buy. And that is 4 to 5 times more expensive than it was for your parents, or even beyond that. 40s, 1950s, 1960s, 4 or 5 times more expensive when adjusted for inflation. So you are effectively more poor than that previous generation. And if this still, it used to be that the traditional family, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, traditional family was husband and wife. And it wasn't the case that women could not study. Women could study. Women in the 1960s could go to college just as easily as they can now. It was just more affordable for them to do so, as well as men. But back in those days, in the days of yarn, right? And they didn't have the wonderful technology that you have right now. But with one income, it was enough to sustain a family. Medium class family, one worked and sustained the entire family. Usually it was the man, the husband. The wife stayed in the kitchen because she was oppressed by the patriarchy. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. It was an option. Women could study just as well as they can now, even more so because it was more affordable for women to study before, and they had the option. Options are always better than not having options. If I chain you to a fucking basement, you're not empowered. You're restricted. You have less options. It used to be the case that people could choose. Families could choose. And they usually would choose for the best thing, which was one of them works, usually a husband. The woman stays home, takes care of the kids, and maybe she works or maybe she doesn't. I actually knew a couple where the woman was a breadwinner. It was actually a fucking successful family. She had a good job. She actually had a great job, made a lot of money. The husband was very good. He was a manly dude nonetheless. He did his thing. And you saw it in the results. They had like 4 or 5 kids. All of them great kids, super successful, high achieving people. It was not your stereotypical family, but they had the option of one stays home, the other one goes out and spends time making money, while the other one spends time making sure things work here. Usually it's going to be the woman, okay? Now, that's no longer the case. Now both men and women, husband and wife, both have to work their asses off, because if not, you do not make it. You do not get by on one income. Yes, some do. I get it. Yes, of course. But it is an increasing minority. It is more and more rare than families get by with just one income. Now, in the empowered generation, the woman has to go and work for a multinational so as to get by and make it to the end of the month. Oh, no, Fernando, that's not my case. Great. But I'm talking about macro. I'm talking about in general, okay? Then Javier Milei does some weird-ass shit talking about how taxes and... let me actually show you what he says here.
Over 80 years. The problem is that social justice is not just. And it
Social justice is not just. That's actually correct, yes.
Doesn't contribute either to the general well-being. Quite on the contrary, it's an intrinsically unfair idea because it's violent. It's unjust because the state is financed through tax, and taxes are collected coercively. Or can any one of us say that they voluntarily pay taxes? Which means that the state is financed through coercion, and that the higher the tax burden, the higher the coercion. And
this idea that social justice does not work. Yes, correct. Who is the one that brought up the idea of social justice? We'll get that to in a minute. You probably know the answer. I'm surprised that Javier Milei does not realize that he's addressing the people that brought this system, the idea of social justice. And when it comes down to tax, you pay more tax than the British royal family. You know how much money they pay? Zero. Zero taxation. Nothing. They don't pay a single fucking cent of taxes. Oh, Fernando, but I don't live in UK. Well, you live on fucking planet Earth, don't you? Well, you pay more taxes than Amazon. You pay more. The elite does not pay any taxes. In fact, they get money from the state. Because the state is what? The politicians are what kind? No, because they work for them. Politicians don't work for you. They work for these guys. They work for these dudes. Okay? So Javier Milei is talking as if he's addressing people that are not responsible for the things he's pointing out. Look at what he says then.
Of freedom that have made us rich, we have been caught up in a downward spiral, as part of which we are poorer and poorer day by day. So this is something we have lived through, and we are here to warn you about what can happen if the countries in the Western world that became rich.
He's warning the world about the miseries of socialism because, as he says, Argentina has gone through this and the only thing they achieve is to empower everyone. Yes, true.
Through the model of following from around the world. Do not be intimidated. In concluding, I would like to leave a message for all business people here and for those who are not here in person but are following from around the world. Do not be intimidated either by the political class or by parasites who live off the state. Do not surrender to a political class that only wants to stay in power and retain its privileges. You are social benefactors. You're heroes. You're the creators of the most extraordinary period of prosperity we've ever seen. Let no one tell you that your ambition is immoral. If you make money, it's because you offer a better product at a better price, thereby contributing to general well-being. Do not surrender to the advance of the state. The state is not the solution. The state is the problem.
So you may be clapping along, or yeah, sure, the state is a problem. Is it? Yeah, sure it is. But the state is not the problem because it's an independent actor. The state is a problem because the people that he's calling heroes are the ones that own the fucking state to begin with. Do you think that Joe Biden runs anything? Do you think that politicians go to the fucking World Economic Forum to give orders? No, they go there to receive them. He talks about these people being heroes because they are wealthy because they offer a better service at a better price. Fucking A, right? Yeah, sure. Okay. What about Pfizer? What about Pfizer? Did Pfizer offer a better service at a better price? $100 billion. Okay. Record-breaking year. Good for you, Pfizer. This is Pfizer's website. This is not something nasty like, oh, anti-Pfizer. No, this is their website. This is their own website. These people did not make a fortune because they offered anything better at a better price. They made a fortune because they own the politicians that Javier Milei thinks are the ones in charge. They are not. The lobby system in the United States, that is perfectly legal, by the way, is a system by which the elite owns the politicians. When they contribute to the campaign of Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Bill Clinton, it's all the same thing. They're buying politicians. Politicians do their bidding. That's when they say, yeah, you know what? You have to do this. You have to put out this law. You have to put these restrictions. You have to force everyone to buy our product because that's how it works. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Do you even know what pharmacy benefit management is? Of course you don't. You have no fucking idea what this is. You probably want to look into it because you're getting raped by this right now. Do you have any idea of what corporate equality index is? Probably you do. If you don't, you really should. This is what Javier Milei complains about the social justice, about the LGBT agenda and feminism and equality. Who the fuck is it that imposes this on all of us? It is them. It is these assholes. It is the ones that Javier Milei is calling heroes. The ones that impose the socialist agenda, the cultural Marxists on the rest of us, because it benefits them. It is not the politicians that are ruining the world themselves. Yes, they are, but it is because they are the employees. They are the lapdogs of the people that are really in power, the true elite, the richest people on the planet, the Goldman Sachs, the vanguards, the richest people on the planet that really run things. And they're not heroes. And capitalism does not work the same way for you as it does for them. In fact, capitalism, it's died with the gold standard. The moment in which money was printed by a bunch of people, we went back to this feudal system when you had kings and queens and royals, right? These modern kings and queens are the ones that print the money that us peasants use. And it is a very sinister system. Just like Javier Milei says in the part where he is actually right, you're empowering the entire country of Argentina. The more money you print, the more poverty you have in Argentina with monetary emission. You make more money, you print more money, you give more of that money to yourself, you become more wealthy, but you impoverish everyone else. The same works at a Federal Reserve level. The more US dollars they print, giving themselves through different mechanisms because of COVID aid, because of different wars and weapons that need to be bought and bombs that need to be sent to Israel because, for fuck's sake, those kids won't die on their own. You have to actually bomb them. Because of all of that shit, they give money themselves and they print more of that. And the more they print, the more poor you become. That's why now a house costs 5 times what it used to. That's why you're poorer than the previous generation, than your parents' generation. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't work hard. Don't you actually work? Aren't you actually creative enough? And finally, because this is a sinister system by which there's socialism for thee and there's capitalism for me, in the following way, in which you, if you fail, capitalism, your company went bankrupt, you started a business and it failed, fuck you. You go bankrupt because that's capitalism. Now, when you succeed, when you're doing well, that's when socialism from the government comes in and takes away from you. But when it's about them, it works the opposite way. For the elite, when the elite makes money, billions of dollars, richest people ever. Billions, they don't even know what to do with their own money. They have so much of it because they give themselves so much. And they ensure that the mechanisms in place make that happen. They will amass enormous fortunes. But when they fuck up, when they fail, no, that cannot be allowed. That's when they socialize their debts. That's when they socialize their bankruptcy. And they're just too big to fail. They get money from the government. They get money from you. The government is giving them your money. They are telling the government to give them your money. Too big to fail. Why the fuck is that? Why the fuck is it that a small business owner, if he fails, he's done, but a multinational bank that really, how many of them are actually producing food? How many of them are actually working in the fucking fields or fixing pipes or creating anything of actual value? You know, J.K. Rowling, the writer of Harry Potter, she made billions of dollars, or good for her. Damn good for her. She made something that people wanted, and people out of their own free will went and paid for it. That is capitalism at work. Capitalism with something that is very little capitalist, which is fiat currency, but still, you made something that people want to buy, and they go out of their own free will and buy it. That is not what this shit is. That is not what these guys impose on all of us And those are the people that he's addressing, that he's calling heroes in Davos, in the World Economic Forum. So, some things that he got right, a lot that he got wrong, and a lot that is a big question mark of how stupid are you? Don't you know these things, or are you just pretending not to know them? Guys, the unpopular video that I just promised. There you go. See you on the next video.